I'm going to show you how to construct a very basic drum beat in Garageband. To do that, you're going to need a new project. If you don't already have one open, you'd go to your File menu, you'd click on New, decide if you want to save that project or not, come to your next thing, Empty Project, choose, and this will bring you over to your new project window. You'll always be setting up software instruments to create any sounds in GarageBand. Click Create. And here's your new track. Remember, in the middle is your track window. On the left-hand side is your library that has all of your patch categories and the different patches available. If your library is not open, it's this drop bar right here. I'm going to select a drum kit. You can choose regular drum kits or electronic. A lot of the keys from drum kit to drum kit work the same. There's a lot of carryover. So I'll just pick any old drum kit. How about we go to Major Crush? Why not? And that will change in your track window. Now you have a drum kit instead of the piano that was there before. When I press the keys on my MIDI keyboard at my workstation, you should hear a bunch of different auxiliary sounds, drum sounds. Because this is an electronic kit, I get some synthesizer sounds at the top half of my keyboard. But the lower half of my keyboard should be all drum track sounds. You might have to reset the location of your keyboard to do this. Let me show you how to do that. I'm going to go up to my window menu and I'm going to click on Show Keyboard. Up here, this is the size of a full-size piano, and depending on what size keyboard you have at your workstation, maybe you have a 61 key keyboard, maybe you have a 49 key keyboard. If it's not a full size, you're going to need to do this. If I press the keys on my keyboard at my workstation, you should see them highlight on my keyboard on the screen. If the bottom key on my workstation isn't highlighting, I need to drag this blue area over until that bottom key highlights. Now my bottom key is in the middle of my keyboard, so I got to slide it over again until it's the very bottom key, and there you go. So now the bottom key on I'm using a 49 key keyboard, the bottom key is a C, and that's my bass drum sound. For any drum kit that you select, the bottom C on your keyboard should be a bass drum sound if you're not working on a full-size piano. Right next to it is your snare drum. And a lot of basic drum beats are constructed with bass and snare just in a 4-beat pattern. Something like this. Bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, snare. Just using those bottom 2 keys on my keyboard. And you have to be able to record with a steady beat to do that. Let me show you. To record that pattern in GarageBand, number one, I should make sure my metronome is on. That's this little clicker right here. And I'm going to have to click on the red dot to start recording. I will get 4 clicks to prep my recording. So I shouldn't start playing right away. Listen for 4 clicks. That's my count in. And then I can start playing. Let me show you. So I press the record. 2, 3, 4, bass, snare, bass, snare. And that's it. I recorded the whole pattern. A lot of people will try and play bass drum patterns or drum patterns over and over again because it's more fun to do it that way. But if you're using a program like GarageBand and you're just going to be repeating a pattern over and over again, you're wasting time by recording it. You can just record the first loop of that, and I'll show you how to extend it. Now, there's a chance I didn't record with a steady beat. I'm going to double click on my green area, and this little editor window opens. And you can see in my editor window, it should be my bass and my snare, my bass and my snare. And if I listen to it, it might sound pretty close to on beat. There's a little play button right here that'll loop it for me. And you'll see that that first note is off the beat. We don't even hear it in the recording. I can fix that. Click on it, drag it over to the start of the line. And you'll see there are these little grid boxes. That's a feature that you should familiarize yourself with in GarageBand because it's really helpful for editing. Every 4 boxes is 1 total beat. So each box is basically a 16th note. All 4 boxes is a quarter note. I should have a bass, and then 4 boxes later my snare, and then 4 boxes later my bass, and 4 boxes later, 1, 2, 3, 4, so it was really early, my snare. And this I hit by accident, so I'm going to click on it and press the delete key. Now when I listen, it's a perfect steady beat. So if you're someone that struggles playing with a steady beat, this is how you can edit this. Rather than having to be a performer, you're now a technician and you're able to go in and correct that. Now I can loop it out. And up top, if I hit my play button, it's just a nice basic bass snare pattern. Now I still have my metronome on, I can turn that off. And there you have it. For the most basic version of a pattern, I edited down here. Let me review. I'm going to make a second track. So I'm going to mute this track. That's my mute button right here. I'm going to make a second track. Software instrument, create. I'm going to double check on my MIDI keyboard that the bottom key on my keyboard is the bottom key, which I already set before. I'm going to come over to my library and I'm going to pick a drum kit. Doesn't matter which one. The bottom key should be my bass note. The key next to it should be my snare. I'm going to turn on my metronome. Every click is one beat. First click is bass. Second click is snare. Third click is bass. Fourth click is snare. It's going to give me a 4-click lead in. Press record. 1, 2, here I go. Bass, snare, bass, snare. I can stop it. Double click. Look down here. Every 4 boxes is one full beat. I can see that I'm a little bit off the beat for each one of these, so I just got to drag it over to make it perfect. And then when I can loop it out up here, click my back arrow, turn off my metronome, play. And that's as basic as it gets, but if you can do that, we can start building on your skills from there. Good luck.